Hello Glamour Ghouls, and welcome back. If you are new here, my name is Midge Munster, and on this channel we do all things campy, kooky, glamorous, and spooky. I hope you all are as excited as I am today because it is my birthday, and you know what that means. If you've been with me for a couple of years, you know all about this tradition. I cannot bake, and for some reason, you all always want to see me cook or bake or make some kind of spooky treat. And so for the last 2 years, I have picked the most ridiculous, outrageous, spooky cakes I can find on Pinterest and tried to recreate them to make myself a spooky birthday cake. As you can see, I have done some upgrades to the kitchen, which is very exciting. We finally have a cake stand for the cakes, which is really great. If you remember the great cake disaster of 2019 or 2020, this is here to hopefully help us prevent anything like that happening ever again. And it's spooky and cute, and I love it. I also recently acquired this spatula that says bake at your own risk. I saw this at TJ Maxx and I knew I had to have it for these circumstances exactly. I can't imagine a more apt phrase for me to cook with in the kitchen. So this is the cake that I have decided to make this year for my birthday. As you can see, it's this really cool black cake with spider webs wrapped all around it. Now, I will not be doing a 2-tier cake. It's just not in the cards for us. I will be doing this as a single tier, but I am going to try to do the layers of color on the inside as well as the webbing on the outside. Another upgrade that I made this year is that I bought some little 6-inch cake pans instead of the 9-inch ones that I've used in the past. I think this is gonna help us make the cake taller because the cakes that I've made in the past have always been quite squat, and I feel like for the decoration of this one to really work and look nice, we need to have some height on this cake. So we're gonna make some of these and have several layers hopefully to work with. I am making one slight change to this cake. They made their ghosts on the top out of buttercream frosting that they piped into that shape and then froze. While I could definitely do that, and I think it would be pretty easy to do, you all might remember this mold from Joann that I saw in one of my recent decor hunting trips, and I really liked it, but I had no idea what I would do with it. So I decided to go ahead and get it and use this and some white melting chocolate to try to shallowly fill these and freeze them and then have little white chocolate ghosts to put around the cake. I'm hoping that will turn out. I truly have no idea. But I am very excited. This is one of my favorite videos to do every year. It's so much fun to just hang out with y'all and bake. So I guess let's start making the cake batter. I'm gonna move some of this stuff out of the way for the moment. Pull out my lovely Pyrex bowls. Now, one thing y'all need to know, every year y'all tell me, Midge, Ghoul, it would be so easy for you to just make your own cake batter. You don't need to use a box batter. But it's my birthday, isn't it? And you know what? You're probably right. It probably is so easy to make my own cake batter, but it's even easier to dump it out of a box. So what I'm gonna be doing here is I've got some Devil's Food cake mix from Duncan Hines. I thought this would be good to use for the bottom layer where it's really black. I didn't wanna dye white cake black because I thought anytime I've used black food coloring, it just stains everything and it sticks in your teeth. I thought this would be a better and much more flavorful way to get that deep, rich bottom layer. So we're gonna mix this boy up. Okay, mixing this up. And then I've already greased these 2 6-inch pans. Honestly, we probably only need one of these for the bottom layer, but I don't know. Fill it about halfway. Y'all, I really have to get an apron for these videos. I'm literally, 4 or 5 minutes in, and I almost already had a dress accident. Should I design a Midge's Disaster Recipe Theater apron? Okay, so I've got these two about half full with batter. I'm gonna pop these in the oven for about 25 minutes, and then we're gonna start working on getting the chocolate ready to freeze. Okay, so now we are going to melt this white chocolate and put it into these ghost molds to get it to start freezing, because it's gonna take a while to set up and we want those plenty well and set and done by the time we start decorating our cake. So I got these Ghirardelli white vanilla flavored chocolate melting wafers, and we're just gonna add a decent amount of these into this heat safe bowl and put them in the microwave. About that much to start? I don't really know. And I'm just taking these out every like 15 seconds or so and just stirring them to make sure nothing's burning. Okay. Also, I want to say thank you to Nancy if she's watching. Nancy sent me a package in my P.O. box with some different Halloween oven mitts and kitchen towels and stuff, and they're so cute. So thank you so much, Nancy. I'm getting a lot of good use out of them. Okay, perfect. This is a good consistency now. You can see it's nice and creamy. So I have no idea. I have no idea the like proper way to get these into this mold. I'm sure that you're probably supposed to like brush the inside of the mold to like coat all the edges and stuff. That's probably not going to happen, is it? I'm gonna try like putting this little spatula in there and just putting down a really thin layer over all the nooks and crannies of the ghost. It's not going great. Okay, so I'm just like shoving this into all the corners and stuff of this mold with this little spatula. I have no idea if that's going to work. These are pretty deep molds, so I'm only filling them about a quarter of the way because I don't want the ghosts to be like thick. I want them to be somewhat thin so they can just sit around the edge of the cake. Okay, we've got 2 down. Oh. Honestly, like I said, I'm sure this is not what you're supposed to do, but this little spatula is working pretty well to get in all the nooks and crannies. Okay, so that got us 4 ghosts out of that. I feel like I want to do all 6, so I'm gonna melt a little more chocolate. I'm also trying to decide, I got this other little mold because it was on sale and it was so cute. It's got like bats, but it also has these little kind of like scalloped diamond, I don't know if you can see that, spider web decals. Since we're doing a web cake, I don't know, it might be kind of cool if we have some leftover chocolate just to make a couple of them and see what they look like. But actually the reason I thought of this was because when I went to St. Louis a few weeks ago to visit my friends Andrew and Devin of Your Best Halloween Ever, Andrew had made some little like blueberry jam filled white chocolate potion bottles from these molds, and they were so cute. And that was like right after I had shown these ghost molds on the channel, and when I showed them I said something to the effect of like, these are so cute but I have zero clue like how I would use them or what I would do with them. And then after seeing what Andrew did with his, I was like, oh, that's a great idea. So we are trying it and we're going to see if it turns out as well as his did or not. Knowing me, probably not. This is the fun of these videos, right? Is to experiment and try new things. So I've got all 6 ghosts filled up. I think I am gonna fill just a couple of these little web guys just for fun. Oh boy. This mold's a lot smaller than the ghost, so the spatula does not like fit in there. Oh, this is very messy. And I don't think we're gonna get in all the like little cracks and crevices of this one. So it looks like I'm gonna have enough to do like 4 of these little webs. Every time I make one of these, my friend Lindsay messages me because she's like a professional baker. Like she makes beautiful cakes for a living. And every year she's like, girl, what are you doing? What is happening? I'm gonna transfer the ghosts just into this little baking sheet just to make sure they're staying flat. And I'm gonna put them in the freezer. Okay, perfect. So now that those are in the freezer setting up, I'm going to start mixing up the white cake mix and then breaking it into little batches to dye each of our 3 other colors for the cake. So the 2 chocolate pans just came out of the oven. They are done, perfect timing. And I've got the white batter mixed up here. I only used the egg whites. I did not put the egg yolks in this to keep it nice and white because I want it to take on these really bright colors from the food coloring. I almost had a detrimental baking moment, y'all. These are my vintage Pyrex that my friend Nellie gifted to me for my wedding. I have the little set of like nesting bowls, and I was getting ready to like mix these up in the Pyrex for aesthetic, and then I had the like horror realization right before of like, oh my god, these are Pyrex. Like, they're white, these are super porous. I was like, that will stay in those bowls forever and it will never come out. So I'm so glad that I thought before I did that. So I've now got these 3 glass Pyrex bowls. I'm going to break this up into these bowls because these will not stain with the food coloring. I'm actually having a thought. So I was gonna do, you know, the purple, orange, and green. However, and y'all, I swear, do not come at me, because if I made everything from scratch, we would be here all day. So I found these tubs of buttercream frosting at Walmart from Alma's Culinary Company, and it looks like really good quality, and it's already dyed this bright purple color. So I'm thinking, rather than making 3 batches of cake mix and using the purple, I think I'm just gonna make orange and green and then have purple buttercream between all the layers. This is also gonna help me out because I only have 2 cake pans. This way we can bake both of these at once. We don't have to wait for a 3rd cake to bake. I think overall that's just gonna be the cleanest way to get everything done. So let's try to get about half and half of this in each of these. Honestly, that's pretty good. That's pretty even. This is a weird thing I have like a secret gift for, is like when I make a cocktail, I always make like the perfect amount evenly across the glasses. Okay, I'm a Virgo, y'all. We gotta clean as we go. All right, so let's attempt to make these some fun colors. I'm gonna start with the green. And this is gel food coloring, so I don't really know how much. I know a little goes a long way. We can always add more. We can't take it out once it's in there. Ooh, I found these very specifically like neon color mixes. And I was really excited because I think they're gonna give us those really like bright Halloween-y colors that we're looking for. Fold it in. Oh yeah, there we go. We're starting to get like a Beetlejuicy, goose bumpy green. That's what I like to see. I think one more like dose is probably gonna get us where we want to be. Let's start playing with the orange a little bit as well. Okay, the orange is a lot more like wapow than the green. Oh my gosh, this is so fun. Got my little like claw clip here. I have to get my hair up off my neck for a minute here. The oven's been going for a while. I was making cookies earlier, just baking place and bake cookies for tonight's Ghouls Night In live stream for our 50th episode. I am so excited. I cannot believe Penny and I have been doing the podcast for a year already, and that hit 50 episodes is like absolutely crazy to me. The podcast is one of my favorite things to work on. It just brings me so much joy, and I love nerding out with Penny about stuff every week. If y'all are new here, or if you just did not know that I have a podcast, please consider going and checking out Ghouls Night In. We bill it as a cozy chat show with your best ghoul friends about all things spooky, and it's so fun and spooky and funny and cozy. It's just, it's wonderful. And I know I'm biased, but I think y'all will love it. Okay, so I'm feeling good about where these are at. Per usual, the ring light is washing them out a little bit, but they are a very like vibrant color. Let's see how these beauties are doing. They are doing good. They are cooled quite a bit, almost completely. Let's see. I'm gonna pull out this little rack and we're gonna tap these babies out of here. Oh, wow. That came out so perfectly. Wow. Those just slid right out of there. That was awesome. Okay, so I just need to rinse these out and re-grease them, and then I'm going to put these batters in here and bake them for about 30 minutes. And then once those are cooled, we'll be back and ready to start assembling our cake. So I will see you in just a bit. So I'm going to start assembling the bottom layers of the cake, and then once those are cool and ready, we can add them to this. So these are the bottom layers, and I'm really happy with how these came out. Using that smaller pan and a deeper pan made all the difference. As you can see, like we're actually going to get some height on this cake, which is very exciting. That has never happened yet on the channel. We're gonna start by leveling off these rounded tops. Y'all, I'm telling you, every time we do this, it gets a little bit better. Okay. Put the glob on here and get out our little frosting tool. Okay, we've got a layer of buttercream on there. I'm going to layer this layer of the cake. And then I'm gonna leave this for a second while we wait for the other layers of the cake to be cool. I am gonna put this in the freezer. So I put the bottom layers of the cake in the freezer to keep them cool, and then I grabbed these out of the freezer. They feel solid and really good, so I'm gonna work on trying to demold these. I'm not really sure like if there's something specific. You know, like Jell-O, how you're supposed to like set it in warm water, but I feel like that would melt the chocolate. So I think we just work at it. I'm so excited. Okay, it came out. It came out. I'm gonna flip it over and see what it looks like. That is so cool. Okay, hold on. He looks so good. And he matches the little ghost on my nails. Oh my gosh, I cannot believe those worked so well. I am so excited. Listen, y'all, I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but this may be the first like really successful birthday cake we've ever done. Wait, should I try to demold one of these little spider webs and see if it did anything good? Only complaint with this one is you can see the spider web, but it's not like this shape is so distinct. Those you're not maybe gonna be able to tell as well what they are. But I'm still glad we tried them. That is so cool. I've never done anything like this before. I've never used like molds to make chocolate shapes. Now that I know that I can do this and that it's like pretty easy, I'm gonna be doing this all the time for baking stuff. This is so cool. I cannot handle these. These are so cute. Okay, so now while we're waiting for the other cakes to cool, I am going to start working on rolling out our fondant. So first things first, I made sure this counter is nice and clean and dry because we don't want the fondant sticking. Just rubbing a thin layer of powdered sugar onto the counter for traction purposes. As we learned the hard way once upon a time, you do not want to use flour with fondant. Technically, I think you're supposed to use cornstarch, but we're working with powdered sugar. So I've got this big block of black fondant. We're gonna start by just kind of kneading it. I warmed it up just a little bit in the microwave. I don't want to overwork it, but I just want to make sure it's not like elephant skinning anymore, like cracking when I push it or tearing. And I'm just gonna start rolling and turning it every once in a while so that we're making sure it's not stuck to the counter. Just gonna take the edge, put some more sugar here just so it doesn't stick, and roll this lightly onto my baking pin. And we're just gonna set that aside for a moment for when we're ready to put that over the cake. All right, so these are cooled down. I'm gonna go ahead and level off our orange and green cake layers. And the orange color on that is really, really nice. I'm excited about that. Let's get into this green one. I can't believe like the cake is a tiered cake. Like it has layers. And like, I understand that that's what's supposed to happen every time. But that's been like the one thing we have not been able to achieve yet here. Well, I won't say that's the one thing. It has been one of the things. Beautiful. We've got a nice bright green color as well. I realized after doing the first layer that I really should be like piping this buttercream on in between the layers, but that's just not what's happening today. But we also don't have that much buttercream, so it's okay. So green is gonna go here. Oh my gosh. I cannot believe this is like actually coming together. I'm so excited. Adding this layer. I love these colors together. It's so much fun. And then the last layer, orange. Okay, so it might be a little bit lopsided, but that's pretty good, y'all. It's definitely like the closest we've ever gotten to something that resembles a like professionally made cake. So now we gotta get this going and try to get it all down the sides and everywhere. This is always the part I find the hardest, and I'm sure it would be a lot easier if I had like a turntable or like a rotating platform to do this on. And I will say, I think maybe this is the first time I have ever successfully let the cake completely cool enough that it's not like falling apart when I do this. That's honestly probably why I would never be able to be like a professional baker, because I do not have the patience. Oh my goodness, y'all, we are getting somewhere. We really are. It turns out if you try to make a cake once a year for like 3 or 4 years, eventually you start learning from your mistakes, and eventually you end up making something that kind of resembles a cake. Okay, but guys, this looks like a cake. I'm just as shocked as you are. This is wild. I feel like I need to take a picture at this step just in case something happens. If I've learned anything from my past transgressions, it's take photos along the way, because you never know when you're gonna drop a cake on the counter. We're getting to the end. It's happening. Okay, let's put the fondant on top. Oh my gosh. It's happening. Oh, the fondant's breaking a little bit because I think I left it too long. It got a little dry. Oh, it's cracking. See, this is why we do this. Okay, so note to self, that was too long to leave the fondant. I feel like, I wonder if we can, oh no. We're gonna try something, and I might be making a terrible, terrible mistake. So the bad news is that there is purple icing everywhere. The good news is I was able to rehydrate the fondant with just putting a little bit of water on my hands and reworking it, and it seems to be salvageable. So now I think I just need to wipe this down and re-powder the counter again. I knew it was coming. There's always a moment in every one of these videos I've ever done where, like, right when we start to see the light at the end of the tunnel, something happens. It's like, oh, gotta try to save the day. It's gonna be okay. I'm like 92% sure that I have fixed the error that I've made. We're learning. That's okay. Gonna be some margin for error. Things were going too smoothly up till now. We had to add a little chaos in. Let's try this one more time. So I'm gonna roll this up on my pan, pull our cake into frame. Okay. Oh yeah, okay. We're in business, kids. So Taylor just came down to fill up his water bottle and pointed out that I had purple frosting across my head. I don't know how long it's been there, so that'll be fun in editing. But here we have the cake in its fondanted form. It's definitely, the fondant is not perfect. It is cracked in a few places, but overall, I'm very excited. This looks like a cake. So the last thing we have to do is the most fun part, and it is to make the spider webs. So the webs are made out of marshmallow, and you're just supposed to microwave them for about 30 seconds, get them soft, stir them, and then let them cool for just a second. And then you literally just dip your hands in here and stretch the webs around the cake. So it should be pretty easy in theory and like pretty fun. So I'm gonna melt these down. Okay, so you can see it's like a nice goopy consistency. And then we just like reach in here and stretch it around the cake. And the site I read about this was pretty much like, it's gonna get really freaking messy, so just have fun with it and accept the fact that it's gonna be like really, really gloopy and that you're gonna be covered in marshmallow. The woman demonstrating this was also wearing gloves, but I like to live dangerously. This is really, really fun, actually. And you can really just like keep going with this until you're bored doing it. Okay. I think I'm about done with the webs because I don't want to like completely cover the cake in a way where you like can't see what it's supposed to be. Okay, and then the last thing we have to do is add our little ghosts. I think these are gonna stick pretty well to the marshmallow, so I'm just gonna like add them all around the kind of base of the cake. And with that, y'all, I cannot believe it, but we are finished. We have our birthday spooky cake for 2022. This is so cute. I know it's a little like messy, but that's kind of the fun of it, is that it's meant to be a little bit chaotic, and I think that's why it like turned out so much better than normal. I do kind of wish I had made some of the buttercream ghosts for the top, just because I think it would have finished it off nicely to have a little crown of something. But honestly, as a whole, I am so freaking thrilled. Now there is only one thing left to do, and that is to cut into this baby and see what the layers look like on the inside. Okay, let's cut into the inside and see if we did an okay job on the layers. Okay, are you ready? That looks good. I honestly think that looks really cute. It definitely has like definitive layers of color. Now looking at it, I do wish that it had a purple layer rather than the two dark layers of chocolate, but it's still really, really cute and has a very fun, spooky vibe to it. And now there's only one thing left to do. Yup, tastes like cake. Honestly, the one disappointment of these videos is always that it is box cake, so it doesn't taste like anything spectacular. So I think the way to step this up next year is for us to make our own cake mix and try making some kind of really good flavored cake. As I said, this is certainly not perfect, but I do think this is the strongest outing we've had so far on the channel of decorating the cake. And so I think I am ready to graduate to the next step, which is making my own cake mix and buttercream frosting. And that is another year in the books. Like I said, this really is my favorite tradition that kind of started as an accident. It's really fun to see how it grows and changes every year. And I learn so much every time and keep building on what I've learned the last year. Next year's gonna be the big 3-0. I'm gonna be 30 next year. And so I think we should do something really, really crazy. I want to thank you all for another wonderful year here on the channel. The best birthday present I could ask for is getting to do what I love every day for a living, and that would not be possible without all of you. So thank you so much for your continued support. We are just shy of 40,000 subscribers, which is absolutely crazy to me. I think when we did this last year, I was trying to hit 20K or maybe 10K. I sat down on my 26th birthday 3 years ago and I made a list of the things that needed to change about my life so that I would be where I wanted to be by the time I was 30 years old. And one of the main parts of that was that I wanted to be working for myself by the time I hit 30. And thanks to all of you, I have been able to accomplish that, and I simply could not be more thankful. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up and leave me a comment down below. Let me know, what kind of cake should we make for my 30th birthday next year? I'm gonna start saving ideas now. As always, if you are not already, be sure to subscribe to the channel before you leave today. I would love to have you be a part of our Glamour Ghoul gang, and I look forward to seeing you all again very soon. Until next time, keep it campy, kooky, glamorous, and spooky. Bye.
When we most come out to social.